Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Arbitrary 20. In this video, we're going to be doing a build based on the new Path of the Giant Barbarian subclass. It's going to be focused on sustained damage, as many barbarians are, but it's also going to be focused on forced movement. This is actually the first build guide in a series where I'm making a full party focused on using forced movement effectively. The last video I did was a bit of an introduction to this series that goes over all of the features you would want to get in a party like this that focuses on forced movement. If you'd like to check it out, I'll link it in the card up there. But let's go ahead and get right into the build, starting with the race. We're going to be going with custom lineage. Variant human could work as well. I'd just rather have the +2 as opposed to the 2+1s. But as usual, the main reason you take either one of these races is to get a feat at level 1, and we're going to be going with Polar Master. And for our ability scores, assuming point buy, we're going to have a strength of 14, +2 from our race for a total of 16, a dexterity of 14, a constitution of 14, an intelligence of 8, a wisdom of 9, and a charisma of 13. And then if you're rolling for ability scores, I would prioritize strength first, constitution second, dexterity third, and then make sure you have at least a 13 in charisma for multi-classing purposes. For our ideal equipment, we're going to want a glaive or a halberd to go with that Polar Master feat we just picked up. Then we're going to eventually want half plate armor, and then for levels 1 through 5, you'll want to have some javelins as well. And then starting off at level 1, we're going to be starting off Barbarian, and we're actually going to be taking 8 straight levels of Barbarian before we multi-class into anything else. I think this is the first time I've ever even considered doing that. Wizards actually did a pretty good job on this subclass, I think. But yeah, at level 1, we'll pick up Rage and Unarmored Defense. Probably wouldn't use Unarmored Defense, I would just use the best medium armor you can get, and then Rage will be a nice damage and defensive bonus. And then at level 2, we'll pick up Reckless Attack and Danger Sense. Reckless Attack going to be our main source of advantage, and Danger Sense will give us advantage on dexterity saving throws. And then at level 3, we'll get our Primal Path, and you already know we're going Path of the Giant. The highlight feature here being Giant's Havoc, giving us increased reach and size, and we can add our Rage bonus to thrown weapons. This is a little unfortunate if you're playtesting 1D&D, as you already add your Rage bonus to thrown weapons in that, so hopefully they redesign this one a little bit for the new player's handbook. But in the current game, this is an awesome feature and we'll get a lot of use out of it. And then at level 4, we'll get our first ability score increase or feat, and I would go with Great Weapon Master. The -5 +10 to hit is great on a Barbarian because we can Reckless Attack and always have advantage, pretty much just canceling that out. And then at Barbarian 5, we'll pick up Extra Attack and Fast Movement. And then at level 6, we'll pick up Elemental Cleaver. This will give us an extra d6 damage per hit, and we can give our polearm the thrown property. Yeah, so this feature is awesome. It gives us additional damage, and it gives us a good range attack, which no other Barbarian really has. And then at level 7, we'll pick up Feral Instinct and Instinctive Pounce, giving us advantage on initiative, and we pretty much can't be surprised as long as we rage first. And then Instinctive Pounce is an optional feature from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything that lets us move up to half our speed when we rage. This is definitely not required, but it is really nice to have. And then at Barbarian 8, we'll get another ASI or feat, and we're going to be taking Crusher, giving us a +1 to strength, and this is a forced movement option we can use pretty much every turn. Right now, this only works with our bonus action Polar Master attack, but we'll get another way to use it next level. That next level being a Warlock dip. At level 9, we'll be taking 1 level of Warlock. We'll be taking the Genie Patron, choosing the Dow option. I mentioned this in the introduction video. Pretty much any character that makes attacks can take 1 level of Dow Genie and the Crusher feat to get a very easy forced movement option that they can use every turn. And regardless of the forced movement, it's a nice increase to our sustained damage as well. And then the only spell I really want here is Armor of Agathis. We only have 1 spell slot per short rest to spend on it, but it is 5 temporary hit points and potentially some additional damage as well. And then at level 10, we'll be going back to Barbarian. We'll get Brutal Critical. This is one of the worst features in the game, but the features we're going to get from Path of the Giant are definitely going to make it worth it, which, as I mentioned earlier, is pretty rare for a Barbarian subclass. And then at level 11, we'll be a Barbarian 10, and we'll get Mighty Impel. We can throw other creatures up to 30 feet on a failed strength save. This can be used to throw enemies into harmful effects, to throw them into the air, and then they fall, take damage, and get knocked prone, or you can throw your ally 30 feet out of harm's way. This is a very cool and versatile feature, and it's the main reason I'm putting this in a party focused on forced movement. And then on to levels 12 through 15, we'll be taking another 4 levels of Barbarian. We'll get Relentless Rage, which is a decent defensive feature, letting us make a saving throw and come to 1 hit point instead when we would go to 0. We'll get another ability score increase or feat, and I would take Resilient Wisdom here. Proficiency in Wisdom saving throws is very important for melee characters, mainly to avoid the frightened condition. And then lastly at level 14, we'll get Demiurgic Colossus. This will let all of the things we got from Elemental Cleaver scale, so we'll be able to go to huge size, deal 2d6 damage per hit, and our reach increases to 10 feet, all of which are amazing. And then for levels 16 through 18, we're actually going to take 3 levels of Fighter. For our fighting style, we're going to pick up Great Weapon Fighting. Not the best fighting style, but it will increase our damage a little bit. You could also go with defense if you wanted to. We'll pick up Action Surge, which will let us do a little bit of burst damage once per short rest. And then for our subclass, we're going to go with Battle Master. And the 3 maneuvers I would go with are Pushing Attack, Precision Attack, and Menacing Attack. Pushing Attack is another forced movement option, letting us add the superiority die to the damage roll and potentially push the enemy 15 feet back. Precision Attack is really good when you just barely miss and you want to turn it into a hit. And then Menacing Attack applies the Frightened condition, which is great with forced movement because you can push the enemy away from you and then they can't come back towards you because they're frightened. And then for levels 19 and 20, we'll finish out in Barbarian, getting it to Barbarian 16. This is mainly to get our rage damage bonus up to a +4, but we'll also get an ability score increase or feat, and I would take Slasher to get a +1 to strength and bring us to an 18. Though that's the main reason I took it. You could take pretty much any strength half feat. But that's all I have for this one. If you want to check out my last build guide that I did before starting this series, you can check that out right here. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one.